Hello guys, Kama here and welcome to Mushihimesama 1.5 Original. I've decided to make a commentary on this 1cc run because this is my very first arcade 1cc of a cave game. So that's about 10 months of playing shmups of different styles, but mostly bullet hells. And I'm not that surprised that I got this achievement on Mushi because it's always a treat coming back to play this game. Mushi is also my very first cave novice clear way back in March of 2022. So first of all, this is a very survival oriented run, so don't expect a lot of optimal gameplay and stuff like that. I will be going cheap on some parts to make it through, and there will also be those very sus moments of dodging where you would be wondering why I didn't get hit. I've actually been very close to the 1cc for like 3 weeks ago, but there was this one run where I died 5 times on stage 5, so I decided to step back for a bit and take a break. And then after 3 weeks, I came back feeling fresh and I just went and got the 1cc after a couple of tries. I was afraid that I might have gotten rusty because I played a lot of Crimson Clover in between. So for the first 2 stages, I'll just be coasting through. With every run, my first priority is to get a formation type for my options. I can get one as early as the stage 1 boss, but it can be a bit risky because the boss will already be shooting at you. So instead, I will just proceed with the boss fight and get the formation option on the stage 2 mid-boss. So I almost got hit there because for some reason that pattern always gets me nervous. I'm just going to sit back and play it safe, and that's it for stage 1. So for stage 2, it's a good idea to prioritize the plants that shoot the fast aim bullets at you. It's basically Shmup 101, just try to dominate the screen. And there we go, that was another very sus dodge. Again, prioritize the plants. Once we get the formation option, it will be much easier to take care of the popcorn enemies. The key here is to just practice so that you would master your route to kill the plants, and they should be no trouble at all. Now we pick up the formation option and then it's time to fight the mid-boss. Just stay back so you have more time to react. And then it's just micro-dodging at this point. You should be able to kill it before it fires the big spread. And now that we have the formation option, it will be easier to kill the Zako and focus our main shot on the bigger ones. But of course, you will still have to keep an eye out for any stray bullets from any Zako. From this section until the boss fight, it's just a matter of killing the big bugs for bullet cancels. Okay, so for me, any survival play of Mushihimesama requires a good sense of using the bombs. Unless you're a very experienced player, I would not recommend being stingy with bombs. The regret that you feel after getting hit just because you didn't bomb can sometimes ruin your composure and cost you the run. For example, there are instances where you are facing a familiar bullet pattern, but you're on a weird spot that you are not used to, and then your gut instinct is gonna tell you to just bomb it. And by all means, just bomb it. It's time for the stage 2 boss, and I'm going to pick up the formation option again for some easy points. So I have been playing 1.5 original mode for quite some time now. It's been pretty much the only mode I've played ever since I got the Novice Original and the Novice Maniac 1cc's in March 2022. So I think I could have achieved this 1cc earlier if I played 1.5 more consistently. And by earlier, I mean by a few months. But it's hard because being a shmup newbie, I always want to try out new games. I felt a bit nervous here, so I'll use a bomb and force the boss into doing its final pattern. Because at this point in the game, the last thing I want is losing a life before starting the third stage. Now, this is where things get more serious and it's not going to let up until the end of the run. These medium-sized bugs are usually the ones that will cause you a lot of trouble for most of the third stage. For me, it's important to be in the middle so they will cross over your main line of fire, and don't hesitate to bomb if you feel like they will force you into a corner. And we are close to the very first score extend, which will be at 5 million points. This next part is all about moving back and forth to the sides in between enemy shots. Unfortunately, just as I get the extend, I hesitated at moving to the right and I got hit. There is considerably more slowdown in 1.5 compared to the normal version of the game, so it is easier to do this sort of dance with the enemy because you have more time to see the gaps that you need to go through. As you can see, the big bugs are back and I'm trying to stay in the middle. But the Zaku from the left forced me to the right side, which allowed the other big bugs to get into their positions, so I use a bomb for safety. The next two enemies will shoot a big spread, but the slowdown will help you find the gaps easily. A few more of these guys, just don't let them linger on the screen for too long. And so for this big part on the right, and there we have another weird hitbox moment. Now, this is why I prefer the formation option for this run, because it helps kill a lot of the Zaku that are coming from the sides, so they would be less of a threat. I just keep doing the focus shot and rely on the slowdown for more precise dodging. Once the worm-like things show up, I do some tap dodging while waiting for the big part to be destroyed for a big bullet cancel. So there's one last group of these guys from this side, and after this we will be moving to the other side of this giant bug and it will be pretty much the same routine. Again, the slowdown will help with the dodging and the wide formation option will take care of the Zaku from both sides of the screen. I got a bit cornered there, but I was able to go up and find a safe gap to return to the middle. For here is just trying to destroy this big part before the next wave of Zaku comes in. Of course, shmup fundamentals will help a lot in this stage. Learning to herd bullets and cutting back is essential, and the slowdown somewhat makes it easier. The worm guys are back and I'm going to prioritize destroying the other big part for the bullet cancel. And then I'm going to pick up that formation option for some points. And here's another couple of these guys firing big spreads. So here's a very risky thing that I did. I tried to pick up the bomb, but I was lucky that I decided not to pursue it because I would have taken those shots right in the face. I felt impatient at this point, so I just decided to bomb and clear my mind. And luckily, I was already on my way back down before those guys showed up. Now it's time to get the hidden extend. I have a good idea on how to dodge, but because this is a survival run and I have some bombs, I'm going to use 2 bombs to destroy the claws on both sides. And now it's just a matter of circling around the head to destroy it and reveal the hidden extend. There we go, and it's time for the boss fight. So for this boss, I have a good idea on how to dodge the patterns. But with no bombs left, I have nothing to rely on if I make a mistake. And I was very lucky to not have gotten hit in that part. I hate this kind of crisscrossing pattern, so it's very fortunate that I made it out and we are halfway through the fight. Now let's watch out for some very crazy hitbox moments. 1, 2, 3. And now this last pattern has the boss firing bullet groups that shrink down in size. Unfortunately, there are some groups that do not shrink, and that is when I decided to cut back, so I got hit and lost another life. So the third stage is over. I gained 2 lives and lost both in the same stage. However, I was still optimistic at this point because I already have a good idea on my routing for stage 4, and I have 3 bombs at my disposal. I would be doing a lot of macro dodging for the bullets from these medium bugs and also for killing the Zaco fast. This is pretty much what's in store for stage 5 as well, with a lot of Zaco trying to snipe you from the sides. I always tend to panic against this big bug. And see, I almost got hit there because I moved when I could have stayed put. You have to be wary of these guys underwater because they can be sneaky with the snipes. Again, you can see the benefits of the formation options because then I can just focus on speed killing the green bugs, but you still have to keep an eye out for stray bullets. The green bugs don't take a long time to kill and they are very easy to macro dodge with the normal movement speed of the M-shot. So here is another big bug and we get the second score extend. Now we will be fighting a series of green bugs before we get to the mid-boss, so we macro dodge as usual. The mid-boss patterns aren't really complicated. But the second part is where it gets a bit tricky. Again, another miracle hitbox moment, so I bombed just to finish it off. Now it's the usual green bugs and some Zaco before we get to the snake section. Again, nothing too complicated if you macro dodge and have the formation options. Now the snake section is where it gets pretty intimidating. There's a lot of Zaco in this area as well, and they can get in the way of you destroying the snakes if you don't kill them. If there's no Zaco, I like to destroy the snake head right away because that is the part that goes down the screen and has a chance of hitting you point blank. Most of the time, having a wide shot and formation options are good enough to take care of the middle portions of the snakes and also the Zaco. Knowing your routing all comes from experience of repetition and practice. So here I destroyed the tail for a bullet cancel and then I went for the head of the other snake. I found myself cornered on the left and there's a group of Zaco on the right, so I just bomb for safety so I can kill them and reposition myself. Destroying the tails will cancel bullets, and with experience you'll have a good sense of when to destroy them so that you can clear the way for yourself. And I will say it again, if your gut feeling tells you to bomb, then use the bomb. So this is pretty much the end of stage 4. And we're going to pick up the bomb, and it's time for the boss fight. We have 3 extra lives and 2 bombs, so we are in a good spot. The boss fired a zigzag pattern, and I felt like my positioning wasn't the best for that, so I decided to just bomb it. Again, do not be ashamed to bomb if you are playing for survival. It may not be the most entertaining way of playing a bullet hell game, but it will help you get to your goal. I would always prefer to get hit because I had no bombs to save myself, rather than getting hit with a pile of bombs and live with the regret of not using them. I use another bomb so I can finish the fight and clear my head in preparation for stage 5. So we have 3 extra lives and no bombs left. It will be interesting to see how far I can go on stage 5 before I get hit. For this stage, I suppose it's a lot like stage 4, but this time we will have some big enemies on the sides that will provide big bullet cancels. In case you're wondering why I'm not bothered about cheesing the game with bombs, that's because if I really want to master dodging the boss patterns and stuff, I can always do training mode or save states before I start doing actual runs. But for this one, I just want my arcade 1cc. Don't worry, it's not like I'm gonna be bragging about it like I did some sort of super play. Survival is just a small aspect of playing shmups, so there will always be that big room for improvement when it comes to your overall performance and also your scoring, especially if you want to do the harder difficulties and fight the TLBs. Now, you might be wondering what my next goal is. I think if I will continue to play Mushi, it's either that I take the next step and try for the 1.0 original clear, or maybe just stick to 1.5 original, try to get better to the point that I wouldn't have to use as much bombs as I did in this run, or at least try not to die so much so that I can get a better score. But then again, I cannot promise anything, because there's still a handful of other games that I might want to set other goals on. Of course, if you like this kind of content from me, please feel free to post your comments and suggestions below. This is the second video with a commentary that I have made as some sort of making a documentation for my shmup's progress. We're coming up to the mid-boss, and so far we are still holding onto this life without any bombs. I was lucky I didn't get hit there. I have to admit I'm still quite a ways from memorizing some of the patterns. I have to see some of them start first before I realize what I have to do with them. And getting to kill this mid-boss without getting hit was a huge morale boost. The next half of the stage will have more enemies, but there will still be a lot of opportunities for bullet cancels. As you can see, the formation options really help me a lot with taking care of the Zako. But yes, I'm still keeping an eye out for enemy bullets coming my way. If you're trying to get a clear of Mushi 1.5 original, then I hope this video helps you in some way, at least with the part about getting on a survival mindset. I believe that if you plan your bomb usage well, it can get you farther than you'd expect. And if you run out of bombs, it can sometimes be very surprising to see how far your dodging skills will take you. In terms of getting good with dodging and overall mastery of the game, that will have to wait for now. But if I ever see myself beating this score and performing way better in the future, then I might consider making another video with a commentary. Maybe some sort of a highlight compilation or a side-by-side comparison. So I finally got hit there. I think I should have just stayed on the right to prioritize the bullet cancel instead of trying to kill the plants on the left. Again, the same situation here. I used a bomb just for safety so I could kill the big bug and lessen the risk of getting hit again. Because losing another life this soon is really gonna be bad for this run. And another bomb just to make things easier. I am near the end of the stage, so I want to keep this momentum going. And here we are, the final boss. And honestly, I'm pretty sure I've got this in the bag, based on the amount of bombs and extra lives I have. I did the best I could do to survive all 5 stages, and it's time to cash in all of the resources I have. I'm going to dodge for a bit, but I will just keep throwing the bombs. This is not very different from when I got my first Novice 1cc, besides the fact that I'm playing in the 1.5 original difficulty. I got hit, I have 1 extra life left, and I'm going to end this now. I could still try to see how far I can dodge, but I would rather keep that extra life for the bonus points and set a somewhat higher bar for when I try to do this clear again. And that last bomb was a bit of an overkill. There we have it. I heard that 1.5 original is quite easier compared to the other cave arcade clears, but I'll take it. I'm really glad about it. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will be skipping to the name entry screen to end the video. Again, please feel free to post your comments and suggestions below. This has been Kama, thanks for watching, and see you next time.